Hello and welcome to Segments with Mark and Amber. Segments is apparently not a comedy podcast. We've been downgraded, friends, to entertainment.
Maybe we're both.
I feel like since you didn't like comedy, you just felt like we didn't hit that bar.
No, I just don't want to. I think if we say just comedy, people are going to expect a uproariously, like a stand-up routine, a hilarious
What
comedy.
is this, Monty Python?
Yeah, exactly.
Segments is an entertainment podcast where in each episode, Amber and I talk.
I mean, we think it's funny.
Obviously. Oh, my goodness. Segments is an entertainment and comedy podcast where in each episode, Amber and I choose a topic and we talk about it in a variety of segments. My name is Mark, and with me, as always, is my better 50%. It's Amber.
Hey, this is episode 50. Can you believe it?
What?
We are talking about things turning 50. So the format of today's show, we're going to do some feedback from our last episode. We're going to go over what's making us happy right now. We are going to do a look back at the highlights of our first 50 episodes, and we're going to look at things turning 50 in 2019.
Just to be clear, we're not turning 50.
No.
Not even close. We're a far cry from 50.
Several years.
Several years from 50, but it's a 50 theme because of the 50th episode.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to do with the 50s decade.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, and we're not 50, nothing 50 years old.
I may be ill-prepared then. As always, if you want to contact us or leave feedback, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SegmentsCast, or send us an email at segmentscast@gmail.com.
All right. Well, we're excited to have a correction to
Finally.
issue. My brother and his family were listening out in Seattle, and his son Dale. So Dale Shockley has a correction for us. He said that he actually likes McDonald's lemonade.
Now, how is that a correction,
Because
Amber?
you said it's not good. So he's correcting you. It is good.
Oh, I see. So he's correcting my opinion.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. I think you stated it like a fact.
Oh, yeah, that's very possible. All right, well, Dale, thanks for keeping me on my toes. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I've not tried McDonald's lemonade.
Seriously?
No.
It's got 50% of the calories of...
Oh, it's that
like
Minute Maid Light?
It's like a light kind of a situation.
I always go for the orange. I liked it when they just had High C orange, and now I go for the Fanta orange.
Yeah.
If I don't want caffeine.
So, see, that's the situation. You turn off at McDonald's after 6 o'clock, and the choices drop because you're not drinking caffeine.
Right.
And obviously, you're going to go with a Diet Coke if it's prior to 6
Yeah,
o'clock.
McDonald's has one of the best Diet Cokes.
Yeah, I
Ever.
saw a funny bit on Facebook the other day about how much they liked Diet Coke.
I thought something about that too.
What was it? It would have been better. It was this thing. It said, I wouldn't do very much for a Klondike bar, but there's a lot of sketchy things I would do for a McDonald's
Diet Coke. Yeah, I think that our neighbor posted that.
Yeah, so it's
Great.
It's like a funny thing.
They have a good mix over there. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
Diet Coke wise.
Awesome. Thanks, Dale. We did get some feedback. Our friend of the show, Beth, said, I loved this episode. Amber, can you remind me what episode is she talking about?
She's talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire with special guest Sarah Sear.
I also loved that episode. She continues, your conversation about Gryffindor girls' stairway turning into a slide when the boys' dormitory is not girl-proofed at all reminded me of my college. Wow. Sounds like a really cool college. The women's dormitories have pretty strict visiting hours. Oh, I see where she's going.
Yeah.
And certain days when guys are allowed over. But men's dorms have relatively little regulation on ladies visiting. It seems funny, but I appreciated the extra quiet evenings.
It does seem really weird.
Right?
Anybody can walk into the girls' dormitory.
No, anybody can walk into the men's, right?
No, the boys. Oh, okay.
Yeah, anybody can go into the women's dormitories, but not just like on Harry Potter. That is the part that reminds her of Harry Potter.
Right.
So you thought it was that her stairs turned into slides, but what she's saying is that boys weren't allowed in her dormitory.
Yeah, I feel like that would be advertised more when you get all that college male paraphernalia. They would show you the slides if that was a thing.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah.
To recruit.
So interestingly enough, Amber, I literally just today on my way home from Grand Rapids, listened to the part where the stairs turned into slides in
Order of Phoenix.
Order
So
of
I
the
don't think
Phoenix.
we actually had read about it yet
Correct.
in Goblet of Fire, but we talked about it.
Yeah, Sarah knew about it.
She did. She knows it all. I have not gotten to that part. It must be really close. Our friend and listener, probably best friend of the show.
Probably best friend, gold star friend.
Yeah. He shared the episode and made a great comment. Mark mentioned today that he's better at promoting us than we are. So he said, this is one of the segment crew's Harry Potter episodes. It features a guest star, the lovely superfan of all things Hogwarts, Sarah Sear. This episode is still full of the segment's humor, though. If you're a fan of Harry Potter, you owe it to yourself to listen to this one. Be warned, though, it's spoiler heavy. You should have read all the books or have seen all the films before listening. He's exactly right.
That's correct. So Brian thinks we're funny. The
That's
segment's
true.
humor.
So we can leave that comedy part in there.
But maybe our segment's humor is not like comedy level. It's just kind of like.
So could we say entertainment and humor podcast? Segments is a humorous podcast. I think that's perfect. Segments is a humorous podcast. We're in each episode.
Not hilarious.
No. It's amusing. Maybe.
It'll do.
It'll do.
It'll do. Okay. Segments is a podcast that you can listen to when you've run out of podcasts.
It'll do.
Yeah,
It's more than getting by.
So,
All right.
So, Amber, let's jump right into what's making you happy right now.
What's making me happy right now is a new book that just came out that I don't actually have in my possession yet, but I'm just super happy that it exists. It's called Becoming Us by Beth and Jeff McCord, and it's about the Enneagram for married couples.
Yes.
And I heard about it, I don't know, a year ago from somebody at church, and they were talking about how it's, Beth McCord is really big in the Enneagram, and she has done a lot of other really neat stuff about it, but this one is specifically about how the different Enneagram numbers relate to each other. And you can pair up, they pair up all the different combinations within the book to figure out how you can relate to each other better. So I'm really excited about that, and we're going to be starting some pre-marriage counseling with a young couple at church, and we're going to go through that with them, and I just think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great. If you follow Beth McCord, I think you're on Instagram. I think it's your Instagram coach, I think is her Instagram feed. You
Your
hear about this
Enneagram
book.
coach?
Your Enneagram. What I
You
say?
said your Instagram coach. There could be those too.
I need one of those too. Yeah, your Enneagram coach. She posts about it pretty much every day for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, it seems like. So.
Well, I was going to say I should follow her, but maybe not. I already follow a lot of Enneagram content.
Yeah. I want to like Enneagram content. Most of it, I'm just like, no, I'm not interested in that.
Yep.
But I really like the Enneagram.
Right.
It's weird, isn't it? So I am excited about that book. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Mark, what's making you happy right now?
Well, Amber, what's making me happy right now, and I'm surprised that if I haven't talked about this already, but now we're in the thick of it. Survivor season 39.
Yeah.
39 has started. It's the, what are they calling it?
Island of the Idols.
Island of the Idols. And all these folks get dropped off, 20 folks, and they don't know what's going on because they don't have the big boat launch.
Yeah.
They just end up there on a smaller boat with their team already, with their tribe, and they land on their beach. And there's a banner that says Survivor Island of the Idols, and everybody's like, what does that mean?
Right.
It's an Island of the Idols. Well, come to find out, it's these two famous survivors from seasons past, Boston Rob and Sandra. And every episode, somebody gets yanked out of their tribe, and they are sent to the Island of the Idols, where Boston Rob and Sandra train them. And I don't know, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it because, first off, I guess because they've been kind of going after some bigger players. It seems like they're making some moves already.
Yeah, I think every vote has been a blindside, which has been kind of exciting.
Yes, but what's really fun is that we have twisted our youngest daughter Molly's arm and are forcing her to watch Survivor with us.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do the hard stuff in parenting.
It's exactly. I remember a day when we sat Emma down in a McDonald's and we just force-fed her McNuggets. And, well...
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. She really
likes
likes
her
nuggets now.
Yeah.
So that works. And so I'm hoping the same thing works with Molly. That she becomes so addicted that in a few years, she's on the show. And we're watching her make the rice and make fire and hopefully not cut herself to the bone. That was pretty gross.
That was pretty gross.
So, yeah. Anyway, so that's what's making me happy. One thing I was thinking, though, Amber,
Yeah.
is that here it is Monday night, and we're having a lot of fun getting ready to record this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like there was a time when Monday nights had The Bachelor.
We
We
did.
were The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of fun.
It was.
I'm not endorsing The Bachelor or The Bachelorette for any of, anybody in my congregation that's listening. But, it was a fun thing to do together.
We enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it.
It's a well-edited show.
It is.
It hooks you in.
It hooks you right in. So, anyway, that's what's
Won't
making...
come back till January.
Not till January.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I'm not certain I'm excited about Peter being the next Bachelor.
Yeah.
He just didn't grab me.
Yeah.
Anywho.
He had his moments, but he's not it. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. All right.
We'll see.
Well, there you go. Segment 1. A look back at the highlights of our first 50 episodes. All right, Amber. Well, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
It is. I've actually spent a little bit of time before class, and then I spent some more time just prior to starting recording, pulling bits and pieces, some funny stuff that I remember. That's all going to be at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah. Stay tuned for that, people.
So it's like a 11-minute chunk of audio that's just bits from
some longer bits, some shorter bits.
Yeah, from the last, not something from every episode, but just some of the stuff that if I had more time, I could have mined some real gold. But that said, we found some really good stuff.
Yeah, I
in there
listened to
anyway.
what you had, and I have to admit there are some things I have no idea what we're talking
It
about.
makes you think, man, we're a real comedy podcast.
I know. Maybe we are. Look at this. I think maybe we are.
Yeah, we'll just have to see.
Well, we put out the question to our fans on Facebook, and we said, hey, what were your favorite parts of the last 50 episodes? So we've got some answers here. Friend of the show and your mom, Barb, said that she thinks the potato episode was her favorite. That was episode 3. That was early on. She also liked Sasquatch.
I liked Sasquatch
and
too.
sandwiches. We called that one Everybody Loves Sandwiches. Kind of like Everybody Loves Raymond.
Exactly.
And of course, the one where she won the Hallmark Christmas movie quiz.
Yes.
Lots of fun times, and that's why I'm a friend of the show.
Yes, you are definitely a friend of the show, Mom. Thank you so much. Friend of the show, Laura, your mom, she said, I always enjoy the top 5. Your quizzes are a great part of the show, and as the audience, we participate at home.
That's good. I was hoping they would.
Yes. I love the quizzes as well.
Yeah.
What I've found is that the quizzes can be very, very challenging.
To create?
Yeah.
They're rarely challenging to take.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they're challenging.
Yeah.
They're fun, though.
They are fun.
I love them.
I do, too.
She also commented, I like the way you two interact on every episode. You agree and disagree in such an interesting and funny way. I laugh and feel uplifted each time. The potato episode was great, and all the rock ones were wonderful. Star Wars can't be beat. It's too hard to choose. Keep up the great work on the next 50.
Next 50. That's great. Yeah, there's some good stuff. I do love The Rock.
I do, too.
Man. He's going to be coming out with a new movie pretty soon called The Jungle Cruise. And did you see the new trailer for it?
Yeah, I heard something about Jumanji, though, that Kevin Hart was injured.
Well, yeah, he was injured. He
so
broke
are they
his
going to
back.
have to delay because I heard all they had filmed was promotional parts of Jumanji.
O'Reilly.
I thought Jumanji was going to come out before Jungle Cruise.
Well, yeah, I've not heard anything about it. I know that Kevin got in a big car accident
Yeah.
and hurt his back real bad. So I don't know what the situation is with Jumanji 2.
Yikes, but we do know Jungle Cruise is coming. Maybe that's why they're promoting that so hard, because Jumanji is going to be delayed.
Yeah. Well, the trailer looks amazing. So
It
he
does.
stars with
Emily Blunt.
and she looks like a real Indiana Jones.
She does.
I'm-
It's very cool.
I'm super excited about that. That's gonna be a great movie. But what else? Star Wars. See, Amber, she likes Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I believe Kurt, friend of the show, Kurt, said, I'm pretty fond of the Last Jedi episode. I believe Kurt co-starred on that episode.
Yeah, that might be why.
And he said all the Star Wars ones are great.
Yeah, we have fans out there that like the
do.
Star Wars ones.
Amber thinks we do too much Star Wars.
Well, when you look back, there's a heavy amount sprinkled in.
As I was going through audio clips,
Mm-hmm.
I somewhere out there in the Star Wars or the segments ether, I said I would love to do an episode all about Tatooine. And
Ooh.
it reminded me, yeah, Mark, that's a real good idea.
I do like that.
All Tatooine.
I like that a lot.
Top 5 things about Tatooine.
There's a lot we could put in there.
Yeah, you got that
Really, it's not that many overall that we've done Star Wars.
right. No, because you haven't let us talk about Star Wars for like a year.
Now we got a new movie coming out in December and Tatooine.
I know.
Oh, boy.
Exactly. Well, we'll see. Our friend Beth said, Hanks, but no thanks. Hanks, but no thanks. Oh, that was
a clever way that she wrote thanks.
Yes.
T-Hanks.
No thanks. Yeah. If you remember back, I had a little problem saying that.
That might be coming up at the end of the show.
So, absolutely. That's so good.
Yep. And friend of the show, Amy, wow, favorite episode is way too hard to pick. I just really like how Amber gets so tickled at times and can't stop laughing.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
Yeah.
The Amber laugh is a real popular. Maybe, that we should lead off with that. It's a podcast where you listen to Amber laugh.
A podcast that Amber thinks is humorous.
Nobody thinks my laugh is funny.
I don't know. Do you definitely laugh?
I feel like I do.
In some of those clips, we're both laughing so hard we can hardly breathe.
No, apparently my laughing is not angelic.
Maybe people just hear you laugh more on a regular basis, and it's more of a shock when they hear me.
They look at you and see kind of a sad sack, and they're just like, "Oh, look, she can be happy."
Thank goodness she's happy sometimes. Xbox named me frowning poet.
They catch you on Sunday nights before you're going to work. The next day.
Those are the worst.
Oh.
Or in August.
Oh, goodness. All right, Amber, what are some of your favorite episodes?
All right. Well,
we reminisce.
Yeah. So I looked back. I read through all of our titles. Some of our titles were more descriptive than others. So one of the things I remembered is when we did an episode about books and we did the Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh, that was fun.
Things, but all of my my cleverly crafted Choose Your Own Adventure all had the same ending no matter what.
Yeah, I thought that could be a reoccurring bit, but then you were so bad at it that I was like, yeah, we're just going to cut that one.
I thought my story was great. I just wanted it to continue. It was more like a Twilight Zone where it had a creepy ending, not a Choose Your Own Adventure. I think I forgot what those were.
Yeah, I don't mean to come down hard on your storytelling.
Yeah.
I'm just coming down a little bit on your ability to understand the genre. So
I can see why you would think that. I also liked it when we did our Timbers Turning episode. I believe that's when we realized that we don't especially like fall. We just like the idea of fall.
Yeah.
It occurred to us at the end of our top 5.
So
Wait a minute. I still, whenever my Aunt Lynn reminds me of that all the time, and our friend Joe from church.
Exactly.
It makes me laugh. I saw our first Christmas show. Our first annual Christmas show, we called it.
Okay, so that one made my list.
Yeah, you put a lot of work into that one.
The first Christmas show was this brainchild that I had where I was like, what if we do this kind of like Christmas special?
Yeah.
And in the theater of the mind, we're sitting in a snow covered cabin out in the woods, and various people come and visit. And it was fun, but it was a lot of work.
We were waiting for Josh's toy to be delivered.
That's right. Wasn't Dale concerned?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we were so good with our acting.
Yeah, we're real thespians.
Yep. R2-D2 visited. Charlie Brown's teacher. I think Obi-Wan was in there somehow.
Well, Obi-Wan, he did that the night before Christmas.
Yes,
poem
that was
thing.
good.
Yeah,
that was good. We also had a poll, one of our most successful polls way back then about the worst Christmas song. And Christmas shoes one. We should do another poll one of these days.
We should do another poll. Negative polls really get people.
Yeah, that's
there.
what we need.
Exactly.
Worst Thanksgiving side dish. Worst part of living on Tatooine. Do you want me to keep going?
Yes.
Cereal mascots. That was a lot. We had a lot of polls with that as well.
Yes. So that was on my list as well.
It just really worked out.
The whole cereal mascot, I don't know if anybody else liked it. But you and I certainly enjoyed it.
We really did.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the whole situation.
It was 2 episodes long.
It was.
We did get some good entries from listeners. I remember Gabriel.
Oh, yeah.
My mom, Justin, they all had some good entries about why people Lucky Charms would beat Tony the Tiger and things like that.
I feel like Tony ended up winning out.
I really liked that
whole
theme. That was fun for me.
That was a really, really fun one. One that I really liked, a couple of quizzes.
Oh, yeah.
That I liked as I was thinking back was the first one. it wasn't a good quiz, but it was a good name. We talk about it sometime. Gutenberg versus Gutenberg.
I couldn't believe you were able to come up with anything for that. That was amazing.
And so it was, what was it like? Is this a quote from a Steve
Yeah.
Gutenberg movie or something that was
The guy who wrote the Gutenberg Bible, that guy?
No, he I think the guy who created the printing press or something.
Okay.
Anyways, that was a fun one. And then do you remember when we did the Amish like
Christmas,
fantasy
Christian
which one
Christmas
is not
quiz? Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
Christian.
gosh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that one was a lot of work.
Yes.
But it worked out really,
It
really
really
well.
did. That was a highlight quiz for sure.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. So the second Christmas episode was not kind of the theater of the mind kind of a situation, but it was a really good episode. I don't know what we're going to do. We got Christmas coming up in just a few months. I
That'll
got to
be
really,
interesting.
really get my brain in action.
Yeah, I had the Amish Christian Christmas quiz on
Amish
mine as
Christian
well.
Christmas. How do you remember all these words? You're so
I
good.
don't know.
You're brilliant.
Pretty clever.
Yeah, you are.
We talked about hobbies, and I had trouble expressing the coterie of collectors.
Oh my goodness.
A little trouble with that.
That was a classic bit that you guys will be privy to at the end of
was
this probably very long episode.
Yeah. We did the episode on Tom Hanks, and that was the birth of Hanks But No Thanks,
Oh, yes.
which was Beth's favorite part. I also enjoyed that.
And do you remember the steaminess meter?
Oh, I absolutely do.
And that was right around when I was starting to read Twilight.
Did we didn't do a whole Did we do a whole episode about Twilight?
No, as I was listening to it, we decided not to do an episode about Twilight because we thought it would alienate a bunch of our listeners.
We just decided to go hard into Harry Potter. We'll just do 7 or 8 episodes of that instead.
We're not going to do one episode about vampires, but we will do 7 about wizards.
You know.
Boy, oh boy. Good times.
Yeah, I do remember that steaminess meter. That was hilarious.
Do you remember what the top one was? The most steamy? OMG.
Oh, dear. Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, good time.
And we already talked about, I think, our first guest stars ever were Adam and Tara on our
That's
Musical
right.
Memories episode. We had Aaron and Bobby Joe come talk about Star Wars. We had Kurt and Craig come talk about Star Wars.
Yep.
We had your mom do that Hallmark quiz. We had our daughters on to do Family Feud.
That's right.
And most recently, we had Sarah here to talk about.
Yeah, we have a
Goblet of Fire.
fair number of special guests.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
It has been fun.
Yeah. And so, Amber, I'm out of things to reminisce about, but I just wanted to share that my favorite part of the last 50 episodes, my favorite part of just the segments, which we've been doing since June 17th of 2017.
Yeah.
So over 2 years, is just the time that we get to spend together.
Aw.
It's just been so much fun, and we get to sit across the table and look at each other, and usually we laugh. Sometimes we're just like, well, that kind of was a dud, but most of the time we
Yeah.
have a good time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
I enjoy it too. That's why we started this.
Yeah, because we're just like,
It's
what
a hobby.
can we do
Something
together?
we can do together.
Yeah,
So we really appreciate people for listening to our hobby.
yeah. Thanks so much.
One more thing I had. Segments Had Spoken.
Oh yeah.
I did like a 10 episode arc about a couple seasons ago, Survivor.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the episodes now, and I'm always like, oh, this would be so fun to talk about. I don't miss staying up until 11 o'clock at night on a
that
work
was
night
hard.
trying to record.
Yeah.
Well, memories were fresh, and it takes away a little bit of the pleasure of watching the show when you're furiously scribbling notes and
Yeah.
pausing. But I really enjoyed analyzing the team structure and who was the winner of the show and who outplayed and outwitted and outlasted. I
Yeah.
thought that was really fun.
I thought that was really fun too, and sometimes I think it'd be fun to go back and try again after I'm out of school. But you weren't in school, and it was still a pain.
Yeah, I just had regular work,
You
right?
just had regular work, like a regular person.
Yeah, if it was a summer show, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
Me
either.
too. All right. Well, that was fun.
It was fun. I've enjoyed these 50 episodes.
Segment 2. 50 things turning 50 in 2019. All All right, Amber, this is the classic segment where we talk about 50 things turning 50 in 2019. This is an article that we found on Mental Floss, written by Jennifer Wood and Colin Ainsworth. It was put out just in January of 2019. We were going round and round, just racking our brains. What are we going to do that's special about our 50th episode?
Right.
And this is what we landed on.
It's fun because it's pop culture. It's relatable things. We're not going to talk about all 50 because, frankly, some of them we didn't even know existed. We don't have anything to say about them.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're just going to go through some of these. You can, if you want to look at this article, you can Google 50 things turning 50 in 2019.
Yeah, mentalfloss.com.
Take you right there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through and talk about some of our favorites.
All right.
You go first.
Well, my first one is that Sesame Street is turning 50 years old. It premiered on November 10th. PBS as a station came out on November 3rd, and Sesame Street premiered on November 10th. That was one of their flagship, their first big shows on PBS.
I'm surprised you were able to watch Sesame Street.
They did have the count.
Exactly.
He was a vampire. Maybe that's where it all started. That's what you
Does
get.
it sparkle?
No, well,
I don't know.
If we ever saw him in the sun.
Exactly.
I probably didn't. I guessed I would. Maybe the earliest I could remember would be 1979 when I was about 4 years old. But the bits I remember loving was Super Grover. I loved all the parts with Snuffleupagus. How Big Bird was always trying to show somebody, and then he would be gone. Snuffy would be gone when another person would come by.
That always confused me as a kid. Yeah. Like I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like
I felt a little anxious for Big Bird.
Yeah,
like what's happening?
I get it now. It was like it was like a figment of his imagination.
Well, we don't know.
What?
That was kind of like the thing. I mean, we could see it. Did he just walk away? He was never in the room and other people couldn't see him. He just walked away. Big Bird would be like, "Stay right here, Snuffy. I'm going to go get Carol and Gordon."
Oh, well, maybe I don't get it.
Come back.
Oh, man.
Let us know, listeners.
What's the deal with
I
that
think
big,
all the
fuzzy
adults
elephant?
for sure thought it was an imaginary friend.
I get it.
Was it, or was he just a fast-moving woolly mammoth? I liked all the parts with the kind of downtown Sesame Street shop. There was that guy that was always fixing toasters. Was that Gordon? I think Gordon had the grocery store. I liked all the real human and puppet interactions. I think it gave them some gravitas. Like, oh, these are real things. Look at them talking to real people.
Yeah. So did you think that what's better in your mind, Muppets, Sesame Street? Because they both had a similar shtick, right? They were both
Kermit
puppets.
was even on both.
What?
Because I was thinking, one of the things I liked was news, the Sesame Street news. And Kermit was the guy who did the news.
Wow.
I know. And that's a lot of times there'd be a cow in the way.
Oh, wow. I guess I just, in my brain.
He would do like fairy tales. He would go investigate, like Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep.
That wasn't a Muppet show?
I mean, maybe. I Googled it and it came up, but maybe it was Muppet.
No, I mean, I don't trust my brain with Sesame Street.
I don't know. Listeners,
yeah.
let us know.
My favorite thing on there was a song that went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
it's like
10,
a pinball
11,
machine.
12. I don't know. I just love that song.
Yeah, I did too.
It's
And
rad.
I got that. I loved the guy standing at the top of the stairs with 10 chocolate cakes, and then he would drop them all and fall down the stairs.
Was it a kids video? I'm sure it was Sesame Street. Mm-hmm. And it was teaching our kids to count, and they were in a hotel or something, and the guy was just like, I'll take your order. Fish, fish, fish. Fish, 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 fish. So instead of saying like, I need 7 fish, he didn't know how to count. So he would just say, fish, fish, fish. Fish, 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 fish.
That was a valuable lesson on why we count. I think it was a separate, like a short video. I don't think it was a part of Sesame Street, but maybe it was. Almost like the big face of Sesame Street nowadays, but he wasn't when we were first watching. It sounds like he first came out in 1985, and he was just called Baby Monster.
Baby Monster.
Yeah.
I remember one of my favorite books growing up. I almost said it was my favorite book, but what I mean when I say that was my favorite thing, I just mean one of my favorite.
Right.
So,
we know.
So one of my favorite books was, we had this big, It was a hardcover book. It was probably the same size as the Zimperumpazoo.
Okay.
Professor Wormbog and the Zimperumpazoo. It was big. And there's a monster at the end of this
Ooh,
book.
you had a big one. We didn't have a big
We
one.
had a big one. And my dad would read that, and my mom would read that, and but they did so good. They would I think the pages were chained down or bricked over or something, and my dad would try to turn the page and have such a hard
Grover's
time.
getting so upset. Please don't turn the page.
Oh man, that was a good one.
It was fantastic. It did involve some acting from the adults.
It did. So, all right, Amber. Well, if we want to get through any number of these, we're going to move on now.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready? So the next one on the list that stuck out to me is that Monty Python's Flying Circus turns 50 this year.
Yeah. What did you watch that on?
I have no idea. But I remember as a young person, maybe in high school, maybe in middle school. I have no idea how I would have seen it in middle school. In high school, I still don't know.
You think you could have rented it like Blockbuster?
I don't know.
What about
when did we start watching YouTube videos? That wasn't there.
No.
I have no idea.
PBS might have done a British.
My dad was really into British.
Yeah.
There was maybe it was PBS, but they'd have
Maybe
Faulty Towers on there.
Yeah.
And then maybe that was
maybe
on
there
there.
was a BBC kind of thing that we were able to access.
Yeah, I don't know. But there's
Comedy Central would have come out eventually. Maybe it was
might
on
have
that.
been on that. Yeah. That could have been.
Absolutely Fabulous and stuff was on that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I was a big fan, as you know, of Monty Python and the Search of the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
That was just, and my friend Jamie literally just watched it for the first time ever 2 weeks ago.
Oh, man.
And he's like, have you ever seen this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And anyway, and he's like, just there's those nights that say icky, icky, icky patangzoid or whatever. And it's so funny to me. Anyway, and so, but the original Monty Python's Flying Circus, it had to be one of the original sketch comedy shows.
So it's like a variety, comedy sketch show.
Yeah,
okay,
like Saturday Night Live or what
Okay.
have you. And there's a couple that I remember that really struck my fancy. The first one was Olympic hide and seek. And the whole premise of it was that there was whatever year of the Olympics, and there's a guy with a gun, and he shoots the gun off, and these two guys in jogging shorts and a tank top or whatever, they just go running. They both get in cabs, and one guy goes and gets on a train, one guy goes and gets on an airplane, and it's hide and seek, but it's the entire world.
Oh my goodness.
and so they're going all over. No, that's right. So one guy hides, and then the other guy goes to look for him.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
So one guy runs off, the other guy starts counting, and he ends up finding him in some cave in some desert.
my
So it was
gosh.
just so funny. And then the other one that my friend Mark Morey showed me was the Silly Walks, the Ministry of Silly Walks, and
Nice.
it's just. Anyway, if you've not seen either of those, just Google them. In this day and age, you can just go onto the Googler, you just type it in,
Yeah.
and it comes right up there. It's really, really cool. So there you go. It's 50. It's 50 years old. Monty Python's Flying Circus.
All right. Well, the next thing I have turning 50 in 2019 is Flavor Ice. Those are the frozen, like a popsicle in a plastic tube that you get it unfrozen at the store, and then you freeze it.
I don't understand. I
Before
don't
you-
know what you're talking about.
We
It's
definitely,
like a stick?
yeah, yeah. And you squeeze it up, but part of it breaks at the bottom. Then you've got extra juice at the
Got bed
bottom.
juice down there.
It kind of cuts the sides of your mouth a little bit. That plastic when you're.
I don't remember that. My favorite flavor was green.
Oh, that's the worst. We would have been a good pair. I would have done.
We are a good pair, Amber.
I mean, you're right. But when we were kids sharing popsicles,
see.
we also would have been good. I would have gone red, then orange, then purple, then green.
Red, orange, purple, green. Wow, interesting. Yeah, I love the red. Yeah, I love them all. Purple is probably my least favorite, I guess.
So when we were kids, we got Otter Pops a lot, which I have a vague feeling like I've already talked about this on segments, but hey, it's been 50 episodes. I've talked about everything. Otter Pops were a different brand, but they had 6 different flavors, and they had one called Pancho Punch I really liked, like fruit punch. They had a blue raspberry. They had a strawberry, a lime, a grape, and an orange. So I think those were great. They did not have cherry, which is usually my favorite, but the punch really...
Yeah, I don't have any
made up for it.
recollection of otter. Oh, you got a picture. They have cute little otters on
They
them, too.
do.
So
All
that
those
helps.
they have different names, different otters. Yep.
Huh.
So those are fun. 50 years old.
Yeah.
Somebody came up with that. That was pretty clever. It's
So
just
how-
like sugar water, throw it in your freezer.
Yeah, brilliant. So did you have those in your freezer all the time, or is it like a
No.
special occasion situation?
I think in the summer we would have had them pretty regularly, but
Do you remember my parents would often buy, there's like popsicles, you know,
Yeah.
you can get like a lame, oh yeah, it's a popsicle, a single stick. My parents would get double stick popsicles.
Ooh.
Do you remember those things?
yeah, but I don't know that we were allowed to have both.
What?
You break it. You break it down the middle
You
where the
guys broke
crease is.
Pop-Tarts down the middle.
Yeah, but only on birthdays.
Amber grew up impoverished.
Well. Certainly not.
So did I, but we
Yeah.
at least got to have both sides of the popsicle.
Yeah, there's different.
Why would you buy doubles if you're not going to have a double?
That's probably what was on sale.
I don't know. I love those doubles. I can remember this kind of because they don't snap. You have to wait till they're a little bit unfrozen and they kind of rip apart. You remember?
You can snap it. You put it on a counter and just press down.
I would never do that. We were always eating both of them, and eventually they kind of warm up and they kind of rip apart. You can
Ooh.
rip them right apart.
See, I can tell you that we were not impoverished because you know what we had a lot of? Pudding pops. And those were brand name JELLO pudding pops. They were so good.
So good.
Remember the variety pack? There was chocolate, there was vanilla, and there was chocolate vanilla swirl.
Oh,
So good.
dang. Yeah, we had those too. They were so good. All right, Amber. The next thing on that stuck out to me was that the internet is turning 50.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, when you read it, it's not really the internet as we know it, obviously.
Yeah.
It is the day, April 7th is the day the first official request for comments, or RFC, was published, which included research proposals and ideas for the creation of true internet technology. But a lot of tech heads do cite it as the birth of the internet.
Yeah, and so that got me thinking. You remember that movie with Sandra Bullock
Yeah.
called The Net?
We haven't done a Sandra Bullock episode yet.
No, I would love to do a
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock episode. She's so good.
Net.
Just The Net. So in The Net, I forgot. I looked up the synopsis because I know it was like a thriller.
Yeah.
And like the internet was just kind of coming into existence
Yeah.
in 1995. And it said that somehow she got a hold of a disc. And when she did, then she started getting erased from the internet. Like her whole existence was disappeared or something. And she had to find this disc or get rid of the disc or copy the disc.
Interesting.
And I'm like, do you remember those AOL discs?
Oh, of
Like,
course,
is that what
yeah.
it was? It's like she just
Maybe.
needed some more minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh.
But there's
And then how much of her could have been on the internet way back then?
I don't know.
Nowadays, it would be crazy.
Yeah,
All
imagine
your
if you lost
banking
all
and
your
your
stuff.
everything.
It'd be a bad deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's so I just think that's fun.
Yeah.
You know, the net. It was kind of scary.
Yep.
Do you think that the internet has benefited or not benefited humanity, Amber?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I feel like I love it, and so it feels like
so
it benefits. But if you really think about, the health of our brains and all of that, I don't know if it's a benefit. We know a lot more than we used to. All knowledge is right at our fingertips, but do we remember it?
Yeah.
Are our brains any stronger? A lot of people have attention span issues and depression and things that are so much higher than it used to be, and that's probably a result of technology and internet. So
Yeah. I mean, we'd probably be better off churning butter than churning the social medias.
yeah.
I should have thought of something more social. Is there something? Is churning butter a social kind of a thing?
I mean, it could have been.
Maybe Pa's fiddling. Pa's over there playing the fiddle. You're churning some butter.
Yeah.
Mary's-
Square dance?
Oh yeah, we're doing a square dance. Yeah. So obviously
Square dance rather than square space.
That's it.
Oh, good.
Okay, and done. Amber, what else you got? You killed that
Oh, yeah.
thing. Whoosh.
The Gap opened 50 years ago.
I was a real big fan of the Gap.
It sold Levi's jeans
No.
back then. That's
Oh,
what it
really?
said. It sold
Interesting.
Levi's jeans and records in an attempt to attract the coveted teenage demographic.
Oh, I used to
In San
try to buy
Francisco.
all of my clothes from the Gap, but I
Yeah.
couldn't afford it, so I only got a few things from the Gap. But I really liked it. That was it.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, great. Let's see what else is I got here that I thought was funny. Okay, Amber, here's one.
Okay.
This is number 14 on the list.
All right.
Peter Dinklage,
Yeah,
funny chap.
he's great.
Yeah, and so on June 11, 1969, Peter Dinklage came bouncing into this world in Morristown, New Jersey. In 1991, he made his on-screen debut in Woody Allen's Shadows and Fog.
Okay.
But, of course, he's best known as Tyrion Lannister from a little show called Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
You've seen it.
I have. He's the best character in the entire series.
Is he?
He's great.
Okay. So he's 50.
Wow.
I want you to tell me, obviously Game of Thrones doesn't count. We've already said that. Tell me 2 other movies or TV shows that Peter Dinklage has been in.
I know for sure he's in Elf.
Yes, that is
because
one of them.
Will Ferrell mistakes him for an elf that can report to Santa, and he thinks that he's just being made fun of for his stature, and he gets real mad.
Yes.
He's like a children's book publisher. I don't know if I can think of another thing he's in, but I was guessing is he maybe in Zoolander.
I didn't see that on his list.
Okay, he's probably not. There's something with midgets. It's not a good scene.
No, that's a bad one. Don't. We're not encouraged. What do we say? Endorsing. We're not
No.
endorsing that. Well, Amber, you apparently missed him in Infinity War. I have no idea what he played. You apparently didn't notice him in Pixels.
Well, you're talking about voice acting.
Okay. So I guess then Angry Birds 1 and 2 don't count.
Well, no, I think he was the one live action person in that.
I don't know what character he played, but he was in Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian.
Oh, that could have been another voice. I don't know.
Yeah. X-Men Days of Future Past. We really liked that one.
Huh.
I think he was a
Mutant?
business guy.
Oh, okay.
Business
Yeah.
guy. And then he was also in 30 Rock. So when Liz, she's happy for some reason, I can't remember why, and she's walking down the street, and there's this woman and little boy standing there waiting for a bus, and she walks over and rubs his hair, and she's like, "Hey, little guy," and he turns around and is like, "Did you just rub my hair?" And then she's like, "I had to try to get your attention,"
Oh,
and she
no.
ends up going on a date with him.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh yeah, so it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. So that's it. That's all I've got for Peter Dinklage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he's great. The Very Hungry Caterpillar, the Eric Carle, the classic book, turns 50 this year, and it means something to me because we read it every year in my preschool classroom. In fact, we do a whole week about caterpillars while we're raising caterpillars into butterflies. In the classroom, we have a stuffed hungry caterpillar. We do special hungry caterpillar books and snacks and crafts and all that kind of thing, and it really holds up. It's just a beautiful made book, and the kids remember it well. They love hearing it again and again. So good job, Eric Carle.
That's a great one. Another one, Amber, I'm not sure you were able to watch this, but the Brady Bunch.
Oh, I watched it.
You were, okay, cool.
Yeah, even though it involved remarriage.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
I think they're both widowed, so it's fine.
Yeah, then that's when it's fun.
What an amazing premise. I just loved this show. The idea of 3 girls, 3 guys, the boys and the girls coming together to live as brothers and sisters. It's just, what an amazing idea for a show. They could reboot that right now, and I would immediately watch it.
Yeah, and you got Alice.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah,
she was
they had
real
a
funny.
maid. Mike was an architect. Carol, I don't know what Carol did.
I think
I
she
don't
was a
feel like she
stay-at-home
worked,
mom,
but she still had a maid.
yeah, that was the life. I imagine. So
Yeah, Marsha. Yeah, that was a great show.
I really liked the boys had. I think there's one bedroom for the girls and one bedroom for the boys, and I don't know what it was. It just seemed like they got along, and
I mean, not always, but
not
enough.
always,
You know,
but enough.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know?
yeah.
And it was just a cool house, and they had that very flat AstroTurf backyard that they
Yeah,
would play
that was
in.
fun. That
And
cool stairway.
we would just. I can't remember when it was on. It must have been after school?
Yeah,
or-
so if it started in 1969, again, we were too young to watch it, so we would have watched reruns probably.
Oh, for sure.
When we get home from school, that kind of thing.
So I loved the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, me too. I think it was fantastic. And then they did those Brady Bunch movies. Those were really funny.
Yeah, they went to Hawaii one time and he got
on the
cursed
show
or
and on the
something?
movie. Yeah, definitely. That was in our vacations
Oh, yeah.
episode.
Correct.
Way back when, episode 2, I believe. Brady Bunch turned 50. Boy,
Amber,
oh boy.
are you going to talk about Slaughterhouse-Five or should I?
I don't know anything about
Apparently, it's a book by Kurt Vonnegut.
that. I've heard of it, but I don't know it.
Here's something crazy. Automatic teller machines, 50 years old.
I like to call them ATMs.
ATMs. And how would you even use one? Were there debit cards?
No, you couldn't have. Maybe you just had a code. Did we used to just have a code and not a card?
I don't
Or you'd have like a bank card, but they wouldn't have had like magnetic strips back then.
I don't know.
I honestly think there was just a teller standing there that would shove money out the hole after you asked for it. That's not automatic, though. I honestly think it, though.
I think it was probably wizardry. I imagine you weren't allowed to use them.
There was a...
That's kind of a running gag I have on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
episode.
There was a long period of time where ATMs were a very important part of our life.
Oh,
we were
for
constantly
sure.
getting cash out.
Yeah.
But now it feels like we
Now
hardly
you
ever do.
never have cash.
Yeah.
Why would you need cash?
Yeah, it's very rare.
Yeah. Our friends Graham and Jill always have cash.
Yeah, I think it might be like a frugal way to be. You spend your cash and then it's gone.
That would explain why we don't do it. Ba-dum-tsh.
But
Okay.
oh man, Tic Tacs. Tic Tacs are turning 50. I don't love a Tic Tac.
You don't love them?
No.
I love the whole delivery system. I love the little box.
Yes.
I love the little lip. I love the little shakiness of it.
Yeah, the 3 description sentence does say they make a fun shaking noise when resting in your pocket. I do think that's one of the main selling points is the packaging.
Yeah.
Because the mint, I mean, you have to have several for it to do anything.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them are just like candy flavored.
Yeah, the orange were my favorite.
Yeah, orange and mint were the original flavors.
Interesting.
Dozens of new flavors have been added since then.
Do they still sell them?
Yeah,
I'd like to get my hands on some.
interesting.
All right, Amber, here's a shocker. Jennifer Aniston.
I know. Good
How
for
is-
her.
good for
She looks
her.
amazing.
Yeah. She was on a show called Friends.
She was for
She
sure
looks
on a show
exactly
called
the
Friends.
same as she did
I
on
mean, she
Friends.
looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I don't know
so-
about exactly the same. She, in a lot of ways, she looks better than she did the first couple seasons of Friends. So one thing I just learned about Jennifer Aniston listening to another podcast is that she turned down Saturday Night Live. She was offered Saturday Night Live, and it's hard to get offered that.
To like host it?
No, to be on it.
To like be
Before
a funny,
Friends.
like,
Yeah.
to be a funny person?
Yeah, before Friends. And this podcast said they thought she was on a different sketch show before that. So I wonder if maybe she was on like In Living Color or something like that, or Mad TV. But she turned it down to do Friends, and she talked to Lorne Michaels and said she didn't think the workplace was good for women. Adam Sandler was working there at the time. I can't remember who else she mentioned. And she said that she would hope that it would improve if she was going to be working there. And he just didn't really say anything, and then she turned it down.
Huh. Well, good for her.
So it's interesting. She certainly managed to be successful.
She did. Did she do some other stuff besides Friends? Wasn't she in a movie with Adam Sandler?
Yeah, just recently. The mystery
yeah, that was
mystery
funny. That was
date. She might have
Netflix.
been in another one. But
Direct to Netflix. So,
yep. Yeah, she's been in lots of movies. I think she's won some awards.
okay. Amber, are you going to talk about I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, or do you want me to?
No. Some
Oh,
of
it's
these
by
more
Maya
cerebral
Angelou.
ones.
Yeah. So, number 27, Amber, is the song A Boy Named Sue came out.
I don't know much about this.
And so this was originally sung by Johnny Cash. And it's this really, really funny song. It's based on a poem by Shel Silverstein.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And but there's a band that I was really into in high school called Big Drill Car, and they did kind of like this punk rock version of A Boy
Oh,
Named Sue,
okay,
and I
okay.
had the 45 of it, and it was great. It was about this boy whose dad named him Sue,
Okay.
and because his name was Sue, he got beat up all the time,
Yeah.
and so he got really angry about that, and so I don't know if he like tracked down his dad or something,
Uh-oh.
and basically Dad said, you know, I named you Sue because I wasn't going to be around very much, and I wanted you to be tough.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so kind of bittersweet.
I don't know
Mostly
about that,
bitter.
Dad. He's not going to win any awards.
Yeah, so it's a great song, but maybe, not a great message.
Wow.
So
Rough. My next one was Paul Rudd. That's another one where
Well
you're like,
done.
what? He's 50?
yeah.
So Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston are the same age. I guess that kind of works. One thing I wanted to mention about him, well, he was also on the show Friends. He dated.
Oh.
He married Phoebe on the show. Mike was his name.
Nice.
But he's got a new show coming up called Living with Yourself, and it comes out later this week, October 18th on Netflix. And the description is, a man undergoes an experimental treatment to improve his life, only to be replaced by a new and improved version of himself, and must fight for his wife, his career, and his very identity.
Oh.
So in the preview, it shows him kind of depressed and not loving his life. So he goes for this experimental thing, and then he seems like everything's better and everything's going good with his wife. And then all of a sudden, a different version of him walks in the door. And like, that's the original guy that we knew from the beginning who was unhappy with his life. And there's this new guy living his life where everything's great for him. And they're both Paul Rudd. And so he's like, who are you? Who's the real one? They both say they're the real one. It looks very exciting.
Wow, that's great.
I'm super episodes, not a movie. So
Excellent. All right, Amber, for time, I think we can both do one more. Can you narrow it down to one more?
Yes.
Okay. Gosh, I got to think which one. I got stories for a couple different ones. All right, Amber. Home surveillance systems
Oh,
came out 50 years ago.
interesting.
And, and so home security systems are an important part of American life, I guess. And at one point, many years back, while we were living in this very house, there were a slew of home robberies.
Yeah, it was not too long after we moved in.
And one of us got real nervous.
It was me.
It was Amber. And so we got one of those ADT kind of things, and there's bits and pieces of it still in the house.
Yeah, there is.
And eventually, we got less scared, and we stopped paying for it, but it still existed in our house. And then one night, late one night, the alarm is just going off, and it's not connected to. It's not sending a signal to ADT, so it's just making an incredibly loud noise in our house.
It's a horrible noise.
And I'm punching in the code. I'm doing everything I can. It's the middle of the night. You're groggy. You're, just kind of crazy. Like, what's going on?
I'm relying on you to solve the problem.
I know. And and my mom is there, and I'm pushing the buttons, and I can't do anything. And so then I'm like, the only thing that I can think to do is to rip this keypad out of the wall. And I think if I would have thought it through more, I would have thought, well, that probably isn't going to work, right? Because wouldn't a robber just rip it off? But it did work, and it turned the noise off. And
at least if it was still connected to ADT, if a robber did it, the police would be on their way.
They would already be on their way. True. I don't know why that worked, and I'm glad it did, though.
Me too.
That was so bad. I think maybe it'd been so long that we forgot like what the 4
possibly
digit key was, which seems challenging because there's only 2 that we use.
I know.
I won't say them on the air.
Probably shouldn't.
So, but
interesting.
Anyway,
50
so
years
50
ago,
years
people could
ago,
do that. Said you could use your television to watch and see who is at your door.
I imagine that the Bradys had one.
It feels like maybe
They would
did.
have had to.
Mike sitting in his architect office, seeing who's at the door.
Exactly. So anyway, there you go. Home surveillance systems. 50 years old.
All right. Well, mine's very short. It is the first human eye transplant.
Gross.
April 22nd in 1969. Can you believe in 1969, the kind of technology they had, they transplanted someone's eye. Guess what? It did not work. Because the donated eye had not been properly preserved. So I think it got into his head okay. They said it was technically a success. And then the guy who was getting it, John Madden, I don't think any relation to the football player, his wife said, I don't know what they expected. They tell us being able to transplant an eye and have movement, and in it is really something. So I guess it just didn't work.
Imagine that all these transplants and things didn't work at one time. And
probably
then,
many times.
Yeah.
And what a gross thing to try.
Yeah.
Ugh, I guess if it did work, it would have been awesome.
Yeah. No, that's awesome now. So, also, Wes Anderson, a lot of great movies he made.
Yeah.
One I wanted to talk about, Amber, Capri Sun. I love those little packs with the straws.
Oh, yeah.
Smack. when I was a kid, obviously.
Now they make them clear because there'd been concerns about mold in them that people couldn't see, so you can see through the bottom of them now.
Yeah. And the last one, Scooby-Doo. Were you allowed to watch that?
You know the answer to that, as do all of our listeners.
Segment 3, Hanks but no thanks. So here's a classic segment. Look, do you see how
that was really
people
smooth?
You don't know. That was a one take.
I did the Coterie of Collectors in one take too. I just did it again.
Eventually, you did
right
it.
now. I mean today.
You did. Oh, good job. So this is Amber's bringing this Hanks but no thanks today. It's from E News at E Online.
Yeah. So it turns out Henry Winkler is
From
not
Happy
a
Days.
fan. Yeah, and many other things, but he was Fonzie.
Arrested Development, Jinx.
Something else I just saw not too long. He's in the show Barry right now.
No.
He was definitely in something else.
I'm sure
quite
he's
a
in a
bit.
lot. Yeah.
Anyway, Henry Winkler isn't stopping to hang out in Tom Hanks' neighborhood, this article says. He was recently on a show called Watch What Happens Live, and he was asked about rumors that he does not get along with Hanks. As it turns out, it all stems from Disney's 1989 dog flick, Turner and Hooch. So he said he was directing the movie for 13 days and then was called into producer Jeff Katzenberg's office and said, "Do you have everything with you? Go home."
Wow.
He did, however, hit it off with Hanks' four-legged co-star. He loved the dog. So 30 years later, the 73-year-old refuses to admit if he's even seen the flick. And as he joked, "I don't even remember the title of that movie." Way back then, when Winkler had signed on to direct the film, which followed Hanks and his crime-solving dog, after his unexpected firing, the Barry actor was replaced by Roger Spottiswoode.
So what it doesn't say in here is that why he doesn't like Hanks.
That's why I feel like it had to have been Hanks that said he didn't like him. That's what we have to fill in.
That just doesn't seem like Tom.
Well, it doesn't, but I think there's a dark side.
Oh my gosh. So you're thinking that Tom Hanks is there with Hooch, and they're filming, and Tom doesn't like Henry Winkler?
His direction.
It was maybe Henry Winkler is like, no, it's not believable.
Yeah,
no,
we
I
need more thumbs up. Hey. Hey, Hooch.
Oh my gosh. You're the funniest. Huh. That's interesting. I would like, is there anywhere out there Tom Hanks' side of this story?
Oh, that'd be good to know.
That's what we should look into.
Okay, well, stay tuned, folks. We'll bring that next time. Right now, it's just conjecture.
It's just conjecture, but Amber is always looking for somebody else that doesn't like Tom.
Yeah, I will glom onto it.
Yeah.
It was right in my feed. Facebook knows what I want to see.
Did you see that Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg are doing a new Band of Brothers?
No, but I didn't want to see the first one.
Okay, well.
Is it a war movie?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, we just want to thank you guys for joining us. We'd love to hear from you. Leave feedback about this episode on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at SegmentsCast, or via email, segmentscast@gmail.com, or on the episode page, segments.libsyn.com. You can tell us what we missed. What was your favorite thing that we talked about today, or something else? Thing. Like a thing that happened in an episode. An thing. Or something that we forgot that you really enjoyed. What was your favorite quiz? What was your favorite top 5? We want to know. Indulge us.
Indulge us. You can all look us up and subscribe on your podcast player of choice. Pocket Cast is free now. If you guys are looking for a good podcast player and you're sick of Apple Casts or Apple Podcasts or whatever they call it now, you can get Pocket Cast for free. I've used it and I paid for it, and it's great. But you can also share the show with others, like our friend Brian is doing, our social media manager.
Yeah.
And it's how other people find out about the show, and we would love it if you talked us up, because we're planning to make this our retirement fund.
Oh, wow. We've got a long way to go.
This is it. This is all we got, Amber.
We want to thank our daughter Emma for the logo and graphics. She's done the logo and graphics for the last 50 episodes.
Say what?
Plus segments has spoken. If you want her to draw you something, she might be taking commissions. She's a little busy right now at college, but I'm sure she would love to
Make some
consider. Yeah, make some money for Christmas and whatnot. You can contact her through our email, segmentscast@gmail.com.
And we'd like to say thank you, as always, to EDM Samurai for the intro and outro music. You can find him on SoundCloud at EDM Samurai. So in episode 1 and 3, we used different EDM Samurai music.
Really?
But the other
1
episodes,
and 3.
Yeah,
That's weird.
the other episodes, we've just used the same one.
Unless we made it special, like the Jingle
Yeah,
Bells,
he did
Star
a
Wars
great
one.
jingly version of our theme song, but he added Jingle Bells to it,
Right.
which was great.
That was
so a couple of Harry Potter stuff in there. So,
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, here's to another 50 episodes.
Yay! They're just making future bacon. Oh boy.
I sent a potato to my son to boost his mood. Did the trick.
When you see one, go. You're a real serial killer. Does that work?
That's so good. Hello, governor.
Gonna have a beagle and
Can
some
I have
muesli.
Can I have a beagle and some muesli? And so I was looking on Audible's store, and on the page that describes Twilight, at the bottom, there was this thing called a steaminess meter.
Oh no!
There was a steaminess meter, and Twilight was rated as simmering.
Really?
Twilight was simmering. And so,
How far along in the meter was that? Was that more than halfway?
well, I pulled up an article that talks about the steaminess meter. And so let's just say at this point that there's one level of steaminess below that.
No way. Oh, okay. So it's towards the lower.
It's the
end.
lower
Okay,
end
I was
of
gonna say.
steaminess.
Is it? And this
which-
is just the first book.
Which I feel like lower end would be like almost, I mean...
Like War and Peace or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if this is steamy at all.
Maybe you
but-
don't even get rated on the steaminess scale unless you have some romance in your book.
There was some romance in there.
But yeah.
And so I was like, man, what is this steaminess scale? And so I was like, what is another book that I could look up that would
Yeah.
probably have a steaminess meter in it? And so I was like, aha, 50 Shades. Now, listeners, I have not listened to 50 Shades.
No, you did not download that.
merely
Yeah.
looked at the description page on Audible. And that did indeed have a steaminess meter, and it was, I don't know, can I say this on the show? It was hot damn.
Okay.
I said it really fast in case there's any kids listening.
Don't say it again.
I will not say it again. And so I was like, and yet there is one higher than that.
Oh boy.
And so
Higher
from my
than that.
understanding, again, I have not read nor watched the 50 Shades of Grey, but my understanding is it is very steamy.
Right. So something is higher than that.
Higher than that seems like you're just... Anyway. So I was like, what is this steaminess meter?
Right.
And so I Google it today, and here's an article I found.
Okay.
Okay. Audible unveils romance audiobook service. Great. Including a feature to jump to, quote unquote, the good parts.
Oh no. Oh no.
So there, you can get an Audible subscription,
Oh my
and you
goodness.
can pay extra. And these
Oh,
books
no.
that are romance books, you can just skip to the bits that you want. There is a button that is apparently called "Take Me to the Good Part,"
Oh my goodness.
and in the descriptions they have these the steaminess meters so that you can make sure that you are in the level of steaminess that you want. And so
If
it's
you're jumping to the good parts of Twilight, it's like, and she saw him across the cafeteria.
they were atop a tree together.
Yeah. He called her a spider monkey.
So Amber, so here is the meter. It's 1 to 5. The low end simmer. Or nope. The low end sweet.
Just sweet.
Just sweet.
Okay.
Next simmering.
And that's what Twilight was.
That's, yep.
Okay.
Then sizzling. That's right in the middle. We don't know. There's the one, the hot
Right. Mhm.
one, hot blank, and then the top one is OMG.
Oh, goodness sake.
So
Don't be a flibber.
She ran off with a younger long neck after her husband is caught cheating on her with a 3-horn. Fire doing everything she can think of to warm him up. Paul. Amber.
Unless they're vaping.
I don't have like a list of favorite actors, but if I did, I would have The Rock, maybe Shia, James Franco, and probably Jeff Goldblum. That would be great.
Do you want us to do Shia next, or do you have some ideas of some things we could do before we get to Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah,
I'm picturing Shia and The Rock running for president. It would be like a Johnson LaBeouf.
Johnson LaBeouf. I like that.
Johnson LaBeouf 2021.
Yeah, man. I would put that sticker on my...
No, 2020.
2020.
2020. Johnson LaBeouf.
It's going to be a big year. Po Buddy's Nerfect.
Be able to talk like this really fast.
Hey, guess what? It's time for a new segment.
Ooh.
New segment I'm calling Hanks, but not Thanks. No, that's not what I'm calling it. Dang it. Let me try that again.
Okay.
Amber, it's time for a new segment.
Ooh.
It's a little segment that I'm calling Hanks, but no Hank. Let me try that again. Amber.
A coterie of collectors. Okay.
All right. Amber, are you ready? Nope. Amber. Amber, it's time for a new segment.
Ooh, okay. It's a real clever title.
Amber, it's time for a new segment. It's a little something I'm calling Hanks, but no Hanks. No.
For real.
Let's try that again. Okay. Amber.
Okay.
Amber, it's time for a new segment. It's a little something I'm calling Hanks, but no Hanks. No! Hanks, but no thanks. Hanks, but no thanks.
That's really clever. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, I guess. Like any coterie, I just like the description. Like any coterie of collectors. Like any coterie of collectors. Oh, man.
You can't say coterie?
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. I think. Number 4, because apparently there's only 6 questions instead of 7.
Okay.
Number 4, collectors of aviation memorabilia are an enthusiastic bunch, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a group of aficionados quite as impassioned as these. Those who search near and far for blank. Oh, dear.
Oh, my goodness.
According to the Blank Hall of Fame website, serious collectors are oft maligned, always misunderstood, but are heroic individuals who have taken on themselves the onerous task of preserving the world's blank heritage for future generations. Introduced by Northwest Orient Airlines in 1949, This is slowly vanishing from major commercial airlines. Like any coterie of collectors.
Oh my goodness. Amber Morris.
This is why I usually do the quizzes. Oh no.
You gotta keep
Collectors. Coterie of collectors.
Coterie of collectors.
Coterie of collectors. Like any coterie of collectors. Okay. All right,
Okay,
is it
so
still
what I'd like
running?
you to do is to start back at number 4.
Seriously? Really?
So I don't know. There's so much.
You're right. Okay. I just think I'm... Okay.
All right. And so this time, think about dead kittens.
Okay.
They're very sad.
They are.
Nobody collects them. Think about what else is sad? Stubbing your toe. It's very sad.
Okay.
They just canceled some television show that you like.
Big Brother.
They canceled Big Brother. They said, it's not worth it.
Okay. All right.
There it is.
Like any coterie of collectors. Sorry. Like us and subscribe.
And tell all your friends about us.
That would help.
And the tale of Peeping Tom
Bert-
in Twin Pines, Arkansas. He worked for old Miller's Mill, and he would walk from door to door. Is that a pretty interesting story? Do you think anybody fall asleep?
I got to give him a little bit more time.
Dang it, I don't have any more of the story.
He would rap on a window and then rap a little more.
Rap-a-tap, rap-a-tap.
Slowly he shuffled off to the next house, peeped in the window.
And what was that? The maiden being intimate with her beau? Oh, maybe I won't rap-a-tap yet.
Turns out these people don't even work at the mill.
So obviously
Square dance rather than square space.